Chat, so many people got so much to say about my lesbian poly relationship, okay? Like, dang. Three women can't just be together? No. If I was a man, would it be different? Yes. But anyways, a lot of people just really don't understand our dynamic. And y'all fail to realize poly can be in multiple ways. Whether it's a Y dynamic, a V dynamic, even a U dynamic. You know what I'm saying? People are always in the comments talking about, oh my gosh, why do you always leave Keisha out? Why do you leave Keisha out? I don't leave Keisha out. I have to understand something. Sometimes when people move the way they move, it is because of something that's happened to them. It is because of something that's traumatized them. It's because of something that's happened to them. It's a lot to it. You never know. I didn't just come into this poly relationship and mess up their relationship at all. We kind of gave a story time on my TikTok about how we met and all that stuff. So I'll give y'all the quickest rundown I can. So basically, I met them when I was with another woman. Well, I wasn't with her. We was at the end of our relationship. You know, when it's toxic, but y'all still being, buddy and doing all that stuff and stuff like that. That's where we was at the end of our relationship. The girl I was with cheated on me. We physically fought days before, so it was just terrible, okay? Fast forward. I met Allayia. I was on live trying to make my girlfriend at the time upset, and it worked. And it was because of what I was wearing. Like, I wanted her to see what I was wearing so she'd get jealous. Yes, I was just very toxic, very immature, doing stuff like that, whatever. So that was my goal. Allayia got on my live, and I remember her being on one of my posts because at the time, me and my ex-girlfriend also wanted a poly relationship, but then we had too much going on. Anyway, so I remembered her being on the post, and I was like, wow, aren't you the girl that said you would do a poly and you and your partner have done a poly before? So me and her, we just bonded over the live, and I basically called her. I said we should be friends. We texted. Shortly after that, me, my girlfriend at the time, well, ex, whatever we was, Keisha and Allayia all got in a group chat, and we linked up, and it was great, y'all. We were vibing really hard, right? Okay, long story short, my girlfriend at the time, not girlfriend at the time, didn't know what she wanted. She didn't know if she wanted to be in or out. But I'm going. It's too toxic here. I'm going over there with them. They're so great. They're really, really grown. And mind you, they're all around the same age. But the girl I was with did not act like that. So I was like, baby, we got too much going on. Get the fuck. I'm leaving. Either you're coming or you're not. Okay? And that's what it was. So, like I said, that's what it was. And basically, she was going back and forth. It was getting very messy, very chaotic, very drama filled. Allayia explained it way better than I can. You can go to my TikTok at Alyssa.love if you want to watch that video on how we all met. Okay, so fast forward. I was getting to the part at the end of that video. I basically was like, a lot of people are asking, why is our relationship the way it is? Okay, so y'all, when I first met them, me and Keisha were actually super close. I was not close with Allayia whatsoever because I thought Allayia kind of made me very, very shy, and I just her demeanor was out of my league, because at this time I'm toxic. I'm still, immature. So I'm like, But Keisha, she was relatable to me, and I fell in love, and I was able to talk to her, and I was able to, and mind y'all, I'm a Taurus woman. Keep that in mind. I am a Taurus. It is very hard for me to trust people. It's very hard for me to open up to people. And Keisha allowed me to be able to do that without feeling any type of guilt, any type of nothing. And I was so happy about that. So, like, we were going on and on. We were doing our own thing for weeks. So Allayia, she was there, obviously, but, it just wasn't no problems. Me and Allayia just was not as close. We were still very cool, obviously, doing relationship stuff like that. But me and her just weren't as close as me and Keisha, okay? So, fast forward, y'all. Fast forward to some weeks, okay? I'm sitting there, me and Keisha are talking about something. She lets me know. She basically told me people always use her to talk to her. Nobody wants to do anything else. People just want to talk to her. Not knowing that I'm not even a person that talks to people. So she unintentionally hurt my feelings with that, okay? And it made me completely shut down because it hurt my feelings. I'm like, whoa. I felt like a bother and a burden in a way, okay? So that right there alone kind of made me like, oh my gosh. I felt embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh, I just told her all my business. And she's sitting here telling me that's not even what she's looking for. That's not what she wants. She don't like it. This is how I'm taking it because also I am immature at the time. I'm not as understanding as I am now. And I didn't have it in me to give people grace. I just immediately was offended because I just felt like I just poured out my life to you. And you sit here and tell me that it means nothing because people always talk to you and that's all you get from people. I was just like, and I didn't understand it because we did more than talking. You know, we was doing the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying? And we don't got to get into those details, but I'm just saying we was doing the whole 9 yards, so I couldn't understand it. So that alone made me distance myself from Keisha, okay? And not a big difference at all whatsoever. It just hurt my feelings, and I tried to hide my craziness because I just met these women and we're still getting to know each other. I don't want to scare her off by going off on her. I don't want to do none of that. So I just slowly, like, I just stopped talking to her about stuff that mattered to me and sharing anything personal because it just made me like, yikes, girl, you embarrassed yourself. That's what it made me feel like, okay? This time, I'm also not mature enough to go, to really talk about it with her for whatever reason. And I also wasn't mature enough to talk about it with Allayia. So I just slowly I just stopped talking about personal stuff. Nothing changed but that. But clearly she's seen a difference. And this time I'm like, okay, maybe this is time for me to get to know Allayia. This is why there's two of them, okay? So me and Allayia start talking. Mind you, we all hit it off from the start. Me and Allayia just never talked like that. So, and when I say like that, we just never talked on a personal level. Like I didn't know if I could trust her yet or anything. Basically, we started talking and it started getting real deep and I fell in love with her intelligence. I fell in love with the way she cares for people. I fell in love with my trauma. When I was talking to her, I didn't even know a lot of these things. A lot of the things that I told Alasia, she felt emotional about because I was traumatized basically. And I didn't even know I was saying anything traumatizing because I was so used to it. And she just really picked my brain. Like we were really into it and it was the most amazing feeling ever. I was like, wow. And it actually scared me. So I started to sabotage our relationship because I was so scared because first of all, I don't trust people. Second of all, I've never felt that connection that me and Allayia had when we were talking. It felt so unreal. It felt like, I don't know, like it felt like I was getting, it felt like the little girl in me was getting just squeezed and hugged and babied. And that woman just really, she made everything feel better in a matter of minutes. Just me talking, it felt like she like made my life better. It was so insane. So me and her are just talking. Mind y'all, we didn't even realize, but we were in the car for 7 hours talking. If you know me, then you know my attention span is really short. I don't even text back, babe. We're in this car for 7 hours talking and like not once. We only got out the car because we had to use the bathroom and then we realized the time. It was insane. So like I said, I started sabotaging the relationship. Like I would like unintentionally like start drama or just start an argument for no reason. So I can't even tell y'all why. I don't know what that was about. So that was going back and forth for some time and Allayia was just like, she was just like, there's no need for that, baby girl. You need to chill out. Like this is how she's talking to me. I'm like, okay. Mind y'all, I've always been the dominant woman in any of my relationships. And I always dated older people. But I was always the dominant one. I was always the head of the household. And respectfully, I was always the one with the money. And I'm not saying nothing bad about my exes. I'm just saying I was the very dominant one. I was never submissive. Allayia made me melt, okay? And so I'm like, wow, I don't even know what to do. Okay, so that's how that was going, okay? Me and Allayia, we're bonding so hard in a matter of weeks. So hard, so hard. Y'all know lesbians move faster than Mexican music. That was me and Allayia. Like, it got in my head before anything else, and I thought that was so amazing. And I thought she was, I don't even want to say like that. I just don't have a different word. I thought she was stuck up, but she was not. She was very understanding, very caring, very loving, very everything. Like, I swear to God, and I was like, this is insane, okay? So I started getting very, very, very attached to her, okay? And so at this time, me and Keisha are still very cool, still vibing, still doing everything we do, besides me talking on a very personal level, of course. I'm like, we're still having conversations. I'm not saying we just stopped talking. No, that's not what happened at all, okay? So, okay, we're going to fast forward. So fast forward some weeks. Everything's cool. Like, we still doing the same thing. One day, me and Keisha was at the house alone and we were doing what we do, just chilling, vibing, etc. Okay, so apparently Keisha got a call from Allayia. Allayia asked Keisha to do something. Keisha took it the wrong way and she thought Allayia was mad at her for being at my house with me other than doing what Allayia asked her to do. So Keisha took that the wrong way, and that made her distance herself from me. I did not know this at the time, right? So Keisha started distancing herself from me at the time, and that's understandable because y'all only know me for some weeks now. Y'all been together for 12 years, and she's mad at you now, and you think it's because you're over here with me. That's not what happened. It was just miscommunication, but we'll get to that. So Keisha started backing off from me after that. And I had no knowledge of this at the time. So, okay, so fast forward. Me and Allayia one day were downstairs in a room. It was downstairs in my basement at the kicking spot. And we was just chatting it up. And again, it was accidental for hours. So we all went to sleep, okay, upstairs in my bed. And I think we had a drunk night. No, we had a tipsy night, okay? And we was all asleep. Me and Allayia got up somewhere around that time, and we just started talking. Keisha started moving and stuff, and you could tell she was a little irritable because we were talking. Who wouldn't be? You know what I'm saying? Because I get upset with anybody talking when I'm asleep. So me and Allayia was like, let's just go downstairs. So that's what we did. Y'all, we was into our conversation like maybe 3 hours later. Keisha comes storming down the stairs, and she is living with us. Mind you, I don't know Keisha like that. Okay, I don't know about none of that. I've never seen aggressive behavior from her. This was my first time, so I'm just like, and she's like yelling at us and telling us and rambling at us. And mind you, I just do not understand why. Allayya's just sitting there, and she's like, "Are you done? Like, there's no need to be upset. We're just downstairs. We're just talking." And they went to go talk separately. I don't know about that conversation. I don't know what was said. So after that, I'm just like, and I'm putting things together on my own, okay? I'm putting things together on my own at this point because, like I said, I distanced myself from Keisha in a certain way, in a personal talking level way. And then she distanced herself from me with not coming over by herself anymore or just staying there when she's by herself with me. So then she came downstairs mad and yelling at us and cussing at us. And that was the first time ever. So I'm like, what did I do? And so at this time, I was a alcoholic. Oh my gosh, it was really bad. So I'm like, oh my God, did you do something for God? Da 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 da. Like, what did I do? What did I say? I wouldn't say nothing disrespectful to her or do anything disrespectful to her. So I'm just in my head the whole time that they're talking. And so like I said, I am a Taurus woman. I start to get very like emotional, but I show it in a different way. Like I show it by backing off, okay? I will back completely off because at this point, I feel like I'm coming between y'all for one. I also feel like just a burden. I'm just like, no. No, 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 no. I can't do this. Okay. I don't want no smoke. Okay. So I start like retracting a little bit. Lasia comes downstairs and she sees I'm acting different. And she's like, well, like, what's wrong? I'm like, I just don't know what that was about. She was trying to explain to me that Keisha is also she's an Aries. So she can get very emotional. She can get very, very passionate over her feelings. But me, I'm still not understanding what the problem is because, okay, in my head, I'm like, they've done poly relationship before. So I'm never thinking, oh, it's a jealousy issue. I'm never thinking it's any type of issue like that. I'm not thinking that. So I'm like, well, you gotta make something make sense for me because I'm not understanding what is this about. What did I do? She's letting me know, like, you really didn't do anything. You just gotta give her some grace. I didn't know what that meant, y'all. I said, give her some grace. And that's when the lady just started explaining stuff to me. And I started falling back in love with her because I'm like, wow, this woman is so intellectual. Like, I just thought that was so hot, okay? So we're talking about this situation, and I'm just like, I'm walking on eggshells now, okay? So we're going to fast forward. Now I'm walking on eggshells. I'm a little nervous most of the time around Keisha specifically. And it caused me to act different towards Allayia and Keisha when, it just caused me to do that. And it was unintentional. I didn't even know I was doing it. So, like, me and Allayia was talking all the time. It slowed down a little bit. Me and Keisha, we were bonding a lot, and that slowed down a little bit. And so they both noticed that. And so it just got a little awkward, y'all. So this is the part where I knew I could trust Allayia. So I'm just like, me and Keisha are both just like emotional beings, basically. And Keisha is the type to, like, she's not kissing no she's not kissing nobody's behind, period. That's just how she is. Mind you, she did not know how I felt. She didn't run back and tell Keisha. And that's when I knew I could trust her, because I explained to her, like, that's a big deal to me. You know, loyalty is a big deal to me. So this is when I knew I could trust Allayia. And this is when I also found out, like, Keisha obviously doesn't know why I'm upset, but me being a Taurus, I don't kiss behind either. I felt like she knew what she did, and it made me uncomfortable, and she should have, like, I just didn't feel like, we both didn't feel like we should say anything to each other about that situation. So it's just stayed being weird. Allayia had enough of that, and she sat us down. She said, no, we need to figure this out right now, today. So Keisha explained her side, and she basically, you know, she said it was a one-off, okay? And, you know, it was not a big deal. And I said, okay, and I may have been way too emotional, and I'm sorry, basically. So we both apologized, and everything was good, okay? So now everybody's back with the program. Allayia said everything's straight, and I'm just so glad she sat us down, because me and Keisha were both too immature to do anything like that. For whatever reason, I don't know. We came a long way, by the way. So this is just the first part of our relationship. We've been in our relationship for years. So don't ever count this for now. I'm just explaining to y'all from start to finish, okay? So anyways, everything started going good again. Nothing was awkward. There was some little moments, but like I told y'all, I was an alkie, so I didn't look too far into certain things. Like, I would notice, like, they would go off into the bathroom and talk, and like Keisha would be moody, but I never knew what it was about. So we're gonna say that was happening, but I never understood. I didn't even care. For some more weeks, okay? So y'all know what I said about loyalty and how it's very hard for me to trust people, and I let both of them know I trust nobody. I trust nobody. I don't like my business being told. I don't trust my family. I trust nobody, okay? So they both knew that. So one day, my cousin and Keisha were talking. Keisha told my business to her. Mind you, I guess in her head, she didn't think that was telling my business because that's my cousin, but it absolutely was telling my business, because it put me and my cousin in a weird place. Keisha basically ran back to my cousin and told her that I said I didn't trust her. And even though that is true, it just, like, you put me on the spot, you put me in a predicament I didn't have to be in. We're all in the same room. It was just very awkward. And so now me and my cousin are arguing back and forth. And I said, that was just so weird of you. I'm talking to Keisha. I said, that's so weird of you. Why would you say something to her? You just caused all this drama. Keisha, when she is in a wrong or something, she does not take it well. So she went off on me. Me being a Taurus woman, I'm going back off on her. Long story short, me and her are arguing so bad, back and forth, back and forth. And in the middle of this argument, she's like, okay, so stand up. Stand up. What you want to do? That's exactly how I responded. I stand up. I don't care how big anybody is. Anybody tell me to stand up, I'm standing up. What are you talking about? So I start standing up. So Allayia gets up and she comes in between both of us. So me and her are arguing back and forth. And I'm just like, that is so weird. How you say you want to be with me, but you know, you're telling me to stand up because you were in the wrong, It is going so left at this point. It rubbed me the wrongest way. I couldn't believe it. Mind y'all, I just told y'all, my last relationship, we got in our first physical fight, and that was it for me, because I couldn't. So I'm going off, and y'all, as a Taurus woman, it is very hard for me to calm down. So I'm not saying that I was any better, because, baby, my mouth was going crazy. It really was. Keisha, we're just arguing back and forth. It is very aggressive in the room. Everybody had to get up, and we finally got separated, okay? So I start crying because I got anger issues, okay? So I start crying, and I'm not sad at the moment. I feel anger. I'm like, she just told me to stand up because she told my business to my cousin, put me in the wrong position. Like, I was just heated, right? And Keisha was outside, going off as well. All right, fast forward. I'm staying upstairs and doing whatever. Then I start hearing yelling back and forth. So Keisha got upset because Allayia was upset that Keisha handled me the way she did, because she felt like Keisha was also in the wrong. So when Keisha is mad, there is no getting to her. Just like when I'm mad, there's no getting to me. It comes in one ear, go out the other. You know what I'm saying? So Keisha's going off about this now. All I hear is, you switching up on me for this B word, you doing like stuff like that. So I'm like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? So now I'm mad all over again, and I go downstairs and we go back at it again. Okay, we get separated, and so I calmed all the way down. She also calmed down, and it was just super weird from that point on. Honestly, like, I just could not believe like what happened, I was just really, really shook it. And that really changed how I was with her, because I never experienced anything like that. I've never experienced a person like that, unless they were somebody like, it completely rubbed me the wrong way, y'all. That's how I can put it. So now it's just back awkward again, and everything is just weird now. Okay, so over time, apologies was out and stuff like that. So me being the traumatized girl, I'm like, okay, Lisa, you probably need to let this go so this can go somewhere. You really like these people. So okay, that's what we did. All right, let's fast forward. At this time, now we're dealing with my crazy ex. Now we're dealing with all type of stuff. So as I'm packing up my house to go move in with them and stuff like that, he basically pulled me aside, and this was our first conversation it was just me and her after what happened. So I'm going in with a clear mind, and it feels like she's coming in with a clear mind. She did. And she basically, like, we was talking, we started bonding again. In the midst of us bonding again, she was like, but yeah, Allayia really doesn't like when people are clingy, when people are on her. She doesn't like affection. She doesn't like none of that. She don't like when you kiss on her. She don't like hugs. None of that. So I'm like, wait, what? Why hasn't she said this? Because I'm doing all these things to Allayia. So now I'm feeling all embarrassed again, y'all. I'm feeling so weird. I'm like, I am an embarrassment. So it made me back off from Allayia. Okay, fast forward. Allayia notices. She's like, "Why are you acting like that? Like something's off." No, what's so like? So Allayia's the type of person that likes to get to the bottom of things. So when she notices something, she says it. That is a grown woman. So she's like, "What? No, what's up? What's up with you?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm fine." She said, "No, I'm not saying you're not fine, but what's up with us? Like, did I do something to offend you? What's going on? I don't want to have an issue." So she's talking to me, and I finally tell her, I was like, "No, I just felt a little embarrassed because I felt like she didn't come. I felt like she didn't want to hurt my feelings, so she didn't tell me all these things about her." I was like, "You got me sitting up here hugging you, kissing you, doing whatever, and whole time you don't even like to be affectionate." Y'all, when I tell y'all, she busted out laughing. She said, "If I didn't want that, I would tell you." So I'm like, well, that's weird, because no, Keisha was explaining this to me, and I never knew how you were, and I was apologizing to her basically. And she was like, "Wait," she said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, she told me this." And y'all, when I tell y'all, so like I said, Allayia likes to get to the point and to the bottom of things. So Allayia now goes to Keisha and was like, "Why would you tell her that?" Keisha and Allayia starts getting into a big, big argument because of God knows what. So I'm just like, you just started something. Why would you say something? And they're arguing back and forth. And Allayia was basically like, "Why would you say that if I've never told you this?" She said, "Well, because you're not like that. I never see you like that." And Allayia was basically like, "If I didn't want that, I would have said that to her. Why would you say this to her? And now you got us in a weird position because y'all are in a weird position." Like, that's how they're going back and forth, okay? They're just going back and forth. And I'm just like, so they continued talking. I left the room, and I don't know what all was said after that. So basically, at this point now, I'm in my head so much. I'm like, she's been with this woman 12 years, and she's telling me this. Of course, I will believe it. But then you got Allayia, and she's saying it to both of us. So now I'm believing her too. I'm like, what is going on? So then Allayia explains to me. She said that Keisha felt some type of way because Allayia is not like that with her. But Alaysia's not like that with her because Alaysia's not like that, period. I am the one that's on Allayia, that gives her that type of attention and affection. She doesn't do that to me, she accepts it. If you do y'all understand what I'm saying? Keisha wanted that from her. She wanted Allayia to be how I was, so it was offending her because she didn't understand. Basically, she didn't understand the differences between it. Like, if I'm like that to her, that's one thing, but her being like that to somebody else, she's just not like that. Now she's definitely like that, but I don't know. I think I rubbed off on her a lot. Like I said, we've been together for years now. So Allayia cleared it up saying that. So I'm like, okay, is this going to be an issue? Because, we're moving in. I'm in a vulnerable state right now. I don't want any problems. She's like, no, we talked about it, and it was a very clear and direct conversation. I'm like, okay, whatever. Fast forward, y'all. We move in, me and my 2 kids, and Allayia also has a daughter. That's my baby girl. Excuse me. So we move in. Everything's all right. Y'all, one day, me and Allayia were talking, and it was for hours again, and we did not notice. And me and Keisha got into like the weirdest argument. Like it was just super, super weird. It was petty at first. Okay, Keisha said something and I said something and it went up from there. Okay, and she was like, she said something really weird to me. She said, it take a lot to fill my shoes, don't get too comfortable. And that's when I went off. I was like, I went off on her because I said, I got my own shoes to fill. Like, it's never no pressure. There's no reason to act this way. Like, so we was just going back and forth. It got really heated. It got very aggressive all over again. Mind y'all, we already went through this before, and that's something I just do not like. And I just couldn't understand why these issues were coming out. I'm like, so are you jealous? And she got super upset when I said that. But realistically, I'm trying to get down to the bottom of it. And I was just like, what is this about? Like, what? So now at this time, it is just very, very weird. Allayia is super stressed out. I'm super stressed out. Keisha's super stressed out. Keisha is dealing with feelings that she never knew that like was even a trigger for her. This was new for her. So they've done poly, but I guess they've never. I guess Allayia has never like severely fell in love with somebody like how and bonded with somebody how we did. So things just got super super insane, y'all. Okay, so we're gonna skip a lot of that because it was just too much. Okay, so one day I made a post because me and that same cousin I just told y'all about earlier, we got into a really, really bad argument and she took it to Facebook. So I made a Facebook post about my cousin because she was making Facebook posts about me. But my post, it wasn't like, I wasn't telling her business like she was telling mine. Unfortunately, that really hurt my feelings, by the way. But anyway, so Allayia knew what was going on because obviously I talked to her a lot. Hold on, my kids. So like I said, Allayia knew what was going on because she knew what was happening with my cousin. She seen the post. She seen all that stuff. So Keisha texted me. She's like, is this post about me? I'm like, what? Why would this post be about you? Like, we're sitting here, we're in a relationship. And you asking me if a post like this is about you? I said, no. Like, this is a problem. This is a problem. You over here thinking my posts are about you. Post that I'm talking shit is about you? Absolutely not. So I called her out on it basically. I was like, that is so weird of you to think that. And she semi knew what was going on, not from my mouth, but just from being around Malaysia, hearing stuff. So she knew what was going on, but she still texted me and asked if that post was about her. And that it kept happening, y'all. Okay, I posted a picture of me and Allayia, and she texted me. Well, she texted Allayia, and she was like, is she being shady about me? Mind you, it was just a post about it was just a picture of me and Allayia. And she asked if I'm being shady. So she started arguments with Allayia that I never knew about until a big, fight happened. Not an actual fight, but an argument happened. So anyways, she's asking Allayia, is her post about me? She's asking me, is my post about you? I'm like, that is so weird. So I blocked her on everything because that offended me. I'm like, that is like, I think I was like, you think like this because you do stuff like this. Like, that is so weird to me. So I blocked her on everything because that really made me upset, y'all. And at the time, like I told y'all, I wasn't mature enough to just have regular conversations about things. I just took what I felt and ran with it, okay? So Keisha was really upset about that. And she just said me and Allayia was sneaking around all the time. And I'm just like, how are we sneaking around if we're all in a relationship together? And it just was really weird from there, okay? And then a big argument happened, and Allayia said all this. She said, and you're texting me asking if her posts are about you instead of texting her, and y'all both, she was chewing us both out. She was like, and y'all both act like y'all not grown and y'all can't talk through things. Like, she was going in on us. I'm not gonna lie, in the most respectful way she was. So like I said, Allayia was chewing us both out, and I just completely shut down. I stopped arguing. I stopped doing all that because when you got an alpha woman in your life, you just naturally submit. So I just backed off and I had to go process. Like, okay, what could you have done different? Da, da, da. I was still upset and I still kept her blocked. And it just made me like, Keisha kind of scared me away. Because I'm like, you talk stuff about me anytime, like any chance you get. You talk stuff about me. And whole time it's because she did not realize she was having, her own insecurities about Allayia because she's never had that before, which is understandable. But she doesn't even know this at this time. I know nothing about this at this time. And so I'm just like, no, this woman does not like me. If she could talk shit about me in an argument, and mind you, Keisha would say some low down stuff to me that like is unforgivable to me. And it just made me also start being that way to her. Anytime we got in an argument, she went low, I went lower. like as time went on, because there were so many arguments, she always went low. So, and I'm not even the type of person that made that goes low. So when I realized she was making me also go low, I backed off. I was like, this ain't love. She don't care about me. She don't love me. Like she said, I don't know what happened, and I'm over here in love with Allayia. I don't know what I got myself into. Basically, is how I feel. So y'all, it just happened like that, and it was a constant thing. And we over time, it was getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Like I can't even tell y'all all about the times because it's just like, damn. But like I obviously stayed and was asking me, if you feel this way, if you feel I don't like you, if you feel I don't love you, why are you still here? And I didn't answer right away because, I'm just trying to process my own feelings. And she answered for me. She was like, it's because you only want Malaysia. I was like, what? So I was like, respectfully, I don't have to be in this relationship to still have a bond with Malaysia. That offended her so, so bad. And so me and Malaysia, like, she started going off. Like, it almost got, like, real aggressive and actually almost physical this time. So Alicia was like, why would that offend you? Because I was not saying, she took it as me saying, I don't, if I leave, Alicia's coming with me, is what her brain processed, because that's what she repeated back to us. I said, that's not what I said. I said that I am not just here because of Alicia, because respectfully, we do have a bond and we are locked in just like how y'all are. I started saying about time and stuff, and I was like, time means nothing when you really love somebody. And she went off all over again. It was just a big, 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 big fight. So after that, it just really rubbed me the wrong way, and it pushed us further apart. And I was not understanding where Keisha was coming from at all whatsoever, because I've never been in a position like this. So I'm just like, wow, yeah, this is insane. I stayed because I wanted a poly relationship. They both knew this. And I was like, Keisha, if that was the case, how were me and you the closest if I just wanted Alasia? Like, we were the ones for weeks hitting it off. We were the ones doing the do. We was the ones doing everything together. And I enjoyed every second of it. And I would never take it back. She never could answer that. And I was like, bro, you did this. You did this. How you are to me, how you treat me is why I'm like this. She didn't want to accept that. So it was just a lot, y'all. So after me sitting on this and thinking about this and whatever else, time goes on, right? And I'm just like, wow, like, clearly I'm not understanding something. He feels away and I need to, like, just chill. So because I felt nervous, like, doing anything with Alasia around Keisha, it came off as me and Alicia being sneaky. So whenever me and Alicia would talk, would do stuff, would do anything, I wouldn't do it around Keisha because I didn't want to trigger her. That's what was going on in my head. In her head, she thought we were being sneaky. And she always basically told Alicia, yeah, well, you're basically cheating on me. And we're like, we're all in a relationship. Mind you, when things were good, these type of things were never said. Like, and when it was me and Keisha, these type of things were never said. I don't think she was ready for Alicia to, be like that with somebody. And yeah, and that happened. I was just like, cheating and we're all in a relationship. I had to just tell her, we sneak off and go downstairs and go to other parts of the house because we're scared that you're about to start an argument and yell at us and do too much. You know what I'm saying? So because I lost it at that point. I'm like, bro, you're saying all this stuff, but this is why. She don't like accepting that stuff. So we start arguing back and forth. And I shut down completely. I said, I'm not about to argue with you. It is what it is. Whatever. Okay, whatever. And it started escalating. Like, the way I felt anytime, like, we argued, it started escalating. I hated that. I hated that so much, y'all. She brought a different side out of me, okay? So I'm just like, yeah, no. Like, this ain't cool. Like, what is we about to do? So again, we all sat. Keisha told me how she really felt. We had a real heart to heart. And everything started making sense. I finally got her point of view of things. And I am an empath. So I was like, Alyssa, if this was you, would you feel like that? Absolutely. I absolutely would. And, Keisha don't got all her screws just like I don't. So, like I said, we were very relatable. So I'm like, wow, I didn't understand that you were feeling this way. And because you never came to talk to me, just like I never came to talk to her. But Keisha's older than me. So I just was like, why didn't you say this to me? Like, So we're having a genuine heart-to-heart. Me and Keisha finally got an understanding, and everything is cool between us. We're trying to mend things now, okay? So while we're trying to do this, here I go, sabotaging my relationship with Alasia, because I was still dealing with toxic traits that I had, okay? So I was just doing too much, and Allayia didn't like that. Like, me and Allayia, we would argue. Like, I would start an argument all the time for no reason. I cannot tell you why, okay? So we was just doing that a lot, okay? And it started to offend Keisha. And I was like, is it offending you because, like, you've been with her for 12 years and you don't like how I'm talking to her? And like, that just wasn't the case. It was because she felt like Allayia don't argue with her. Like, it was just really weird how that was explained. And I didn't understand it. So, like I said, me and Allayia was just also in a weird place now because I'm over here tripping. I was tripping on her. And I was very much glued to Allayia. So anytime she left, I don't know, I did not want to not be around her. So I would start an argument, y'all. And I'm just being real. Anything I say is it's like I'm just very transparent, and that's how I was being, okay? I was being very delusional and all that sorts of stuff. So now Keisha's getting offended about that and getting offended that Allayia is taking the time out her day to also do it with me. And, now they're starting to get in fights. So Keisha didn't like put that off on me, more so to Allayia. So now they're getting into it, and it was just really ridiculous, y'all. So now we're all in a weird place, and, I'm trying to check my emotions and I'm trying to grow. And so I started doing that, and I started chilling out, and then it would come back. So, and y'all, it was just super, super insane. Mind y'all. At this point, I found another house, and I'm in my own house now. And now we kind of live real close to each other, and we're like, they basically are staying at my house. They could go to their house, but like, that's just what it was. We were just always at my house. So basically, Keisha didn't like the fact that when me and Allayia would get into arguments and stuff, Allayia would still come back to my house, and we would talk it through, and we'd even like make up, and you know what I mean, make up. And that offended Keisha also. So it started a big fight all over again. And she was just like, you don't ever do that with me. You just push me to the side. And that's not what it was. So I argue different than Keisha. Like, Keisha can get very, very, very aggressive. And I could talk my shit, but I'm not, if it goes left, it can go left. But I wasn't like that off the bat. Keisha was. So she wasn't understanding that difference, and that made them. So in the middle of all this crazy stuff going on, y'all, so Keisha started like telling people I was coming between her and Allayia, just telling all these lies. Well, to me, it was lies. It was her. It was how she felt. It wasn't the true thing. It was just how she felt. So I won't even say lies. And it started making people not like me. It started making Allayia people not like me because I never spoke on what happened in our relationship, and Allayia didn't either. So Keisha was like throwing pity parties and telling people, like, it was just this whole mess because Keisha was going around saying, oh, she's doing this with her, she's doing this with her, she got her doing this, she making her slack, she like, and everybody was believing these things because me and Allayia are not talking to people about our relationship problems because we don't want nobody coming after her. You know what I'm saying? So it was just really bad. And she put me in a position where I was at my house and all of her family pulled up and wanted to physically fight me. And it was just like, why would you do something like that? And she could have prevented it. And Malaysia was really mad at her for that. And like, that's when things took a turn. That's when things started really, really, really shifting. Because what? So at this time, Allayia basically told Keisha, yeah, I need some space from you because I was like, that's where I draw the line. You got my family inside of this, and Allayia is very family oriented, and you got her inside of this for no reason because you're mad. And so Keisha left. So she left my house, and she stopped being at the house because Allayia said she needed space. So fast forward, me and Allayia, we bought a house, okay? So we all come back together. Mind y'all, we didn't break up. Allayia just needed space from Keisha, and there was a lot going on. I lost somebody very close to me around this time, and then Keisha turned around and lost somebody very close to her at that time. Excuse me. So that really brought us all back together because I want to cherish, the people I love. So, and she does too. So that brought us together. So fast forward, me and Allayia, we bought a house. We all, are back in the same roof, okay? So, and then the pregnancy thing happened. I get pregnant. We're in the process of getting Keisha pregnant too. I want to do reciprocal IVF because I want my baby to be a part of Allayia and a part of me. So that's what we did. Keisha wants her own embryo. So that's what she chose to do was IUI. no, was home insemination. So we're both doing our stuff at the same time. Okay, I get pregnant. And we did it wrong with Keisha. So we're now in the process of getting Keisha pregnant. Okay, with IUI because we obviously didn't do it right. So fast forward, y'all, I was pregnant. So I'm pregnant, and my hormones are extreme. Me and Allayia got into it really bad one night, and me and her are going at it, and she blocked me and got home at 4 a.m. I ain't never played like that, and Allayia never either. So she got home at 4 a.m. Yes, I came outside tripping. I'm talking about I was being so toxic. I'm talking about I don't even want to tell y'all everything I did, but I'm gonna tell y'all. Y'all, when I tell y'all I went outside tripping, pregnant, these hormones were getting the best of me. I'm talking about I was banging on her car door because she fell asleep in her car. Like, it was insane. And it was just getting very hostile. And I'm yelling at Allayia. And so everybody in that car is faded. I'm sober because obviously I was at home and I'm not drinking. I'm pregnant. So that happens. And y'all, Keisha must have thought I was being aggressive to Allayia. And she grabbed me up and I lost it. So we both lose it. Y'all, when I tell y'all, so she pulls my hair. She pulls my hair. And that's when things went left. So we got into a really, 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 really bad. Okay. So at this same time, like after, everything get broken up, we throwing low blows. But let's just say you need to calm down because you're pregnant. And Keisha was like, yeah, she better hope she can carry them motherfuckers. That rubbed me the wrongest way because no matter what, I would never say nothing. If we're trying to build a family and, this is what you're saying, you don't care about me. You don't care about my kids. This is what's going through my mind, okay? I'm not understanding the fact that she is super upset and all this stuff too because, all this initially started because I came outside trying to get into it with Allayia. What was that? Do y'all see that? What is that? But anyways, so that was said, and so I started going in. She started going in, but that particular comment right there is what made me really fall back from her because I'm like, I was also saying stuff, but I wasn't saying nothing like that. I said, that's why Allayia don't even like you. Like, I was being really, really mean because that was said to me. I'm like, I'm throwing low blows. I am, and I feel really terrible for saying anything like that because we've already been struggling with issues, and, I just put them. Now I made them get in a weird, situation because now Keisha's like, oh, so this is what you're telling her. This is what you're telling her. And I purposely did that to upset her. But I was so mad. I couldn't believe that was said. So I didn't even care what came out my mouth. This is where we're going to stop part one. And there's a lot more to say because I want to get to where we are now. And I want to do a disclaimer. Me and Keisha are good. Me and Keisha are growing. Me and Keisha want to build our bond back. And I think this time we definitely got to understand, especially with starting a new family and stuff like that. But I'm really tired of people just thinking I leave Keisha out. I'm really tired of people thinking I just came between their relationship. And I've never spoken on this ever, 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 ever because I thought it was a bad thing. But now I got people thinking I'm a bad person and I don't like my character being played with. And, so part two will be soon. I don't know when. Hopefully it's all of us. And yeah, but my women don't like being on camera. They old ladies. They're my old ladies. So it's hard to get them on camera together at the same time too. So all right, y'all, love y'all.